Hey, it's Adam from Buzzy here. I want to show you something super exciting. I want to show you how you can take an application and turn it into a ChatGPT application with no code. Super cool. So in this example, I'm going to have, I've created a very simple food-related application. It's got my recipes. It's got a meal plan. It's got a shopping list. And it's going to allow me, what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to integrate it with ChatGPT to do things like plan my meals for the week and then do my shopping and stuff like that. So this is a really good example of how AI and humans can work together, and you can do some pretty cool stuff. And again, with what we're doing with Buzzy is we want to make this super easy for you to be able to do this without having to write any code. So high level, we've got a couple of different entities. So we've got at one end of the spectrum, we've got ChatGPT, which is the large language model LLM. That really could be any AI. And then we've got Buzzy, which is providing the structured content. So things like the recipes, the meal plans, and then obviously the shopping list. And then there's myself, the user, who wants to get stuff done. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use this model context protocol, which is really a fancy way of saying that allow these large language models to interface with these structured applications. So it's kind of like what REST API was, if you know what that is a way of applications you can speak to different applications and get data and change data. This allows the large language models to interact with those applications. So just a bit of background about Buzzy. We're an AI-powered no-code platform. You can use prompts, you can use Miro files, you can use Figma files to be able to create applications very easily, and you don't have to be able to code to do that. So we actually take all the code off the table, except that you can write custom code widgets for either the front end or the back end, so depending on what you're going to be creating. So in this example, I want to be able to do some cool things in here. So let's say I want to be able to let's have a look at my meal plan for the week. See what's on the go, what I've planned. I can see over here I've got a spot open for dinner. I'd like to plan dinner for Wednesday Eve. What vegetarian recipes are there? Would you recommend? So again, we've set this up, and I'm going to show you this is how all this is set up. But this is just a quick demo. Now, what's going to happen is the large language model, in this example, ChatGPT, is going to interface via that MCP interface with the Buzzy application on our right. It's going to look at what we've exposed, or what are called MCP tools. So there's different interfaces. So think of, there's a set of tools for the recipes, there's a set of tools for the meal plan, the set of tools for the shopping list. And we'll be able to come in here. So it's you can see over here, it's pulling out my recipes from here, so I can actually view them in line of my application. I can have a look at that. So suggestions for dinner. So now the LLM's doing some thinking, and it's going, hey, it's looked at my recipes. By the way, I could get the LLM to suggest a new recipe and get it to add it to my recipe library, if you want to call it that. So it's going to do that for so it's giving me a couple of options. So let's go with the stir fry. Let's go with the stir fry. So what it should do now, so it's called the first tool. So firstly, it's gone and had a look at my recipes. It's sorted through those, looked at which ones are vegetarian, made some suggestions of which ones I think. I can then chat with the large language model, and now it's going to go and let's see what it's going to do. So perfect. Here it is. So the shopping list set to
what you want to say. Can you add it to my meal plan for Wednesday Eve? Did I? So let's do that. Let's see what it does now. So again, this is just one very simple example. Obviously, you can have some pretty sophisticated applications that you create. What we wanted to do with Buzzy is be able to make it super easy for you to be able to enable them for these large language models to do that. So now you can see it's pulling out my plans. My meal plan done. It's added it, and here it is. So I don't know if you noticed over here, this appeared on here. I'm not sure why the image is not coming up, but hey, it's a demo. We can view the detail of that. Maybe it didn't do it properly. Let's have a look at that. So let's say, no, it should have. So this is, let's have a look over here. So vegetable stir fry, done. Yeah, it should have done that for me, but I think you get the idea of how you now have got a large language model. Now I can ask it as well. You've got a large language model interfacing with this application on the right hand side. So I can ask it, so can you add all the ingredients to my shopping list? Cool. So if we had a look at, and just while that's coming up, I'm just going to bring the shopping list up. So at the moment, we've only got one item on my shopping list. So now it's going to go look at the ingredients that are in that recipe, and it's going to go put it on my shopping list. So obviously, you could extend this and integrate with some sort of online ordering system and that. So all that's all capable, and you can do that within Buzzy. And obviously, you can also tie together different applications from. So you can see over here. So you can see now it's adding the ingredients for my stir fry. So I think you get the idea of how this works, and how now the real cool thing is how easy it is to be able to set this up. Now to start off with, we'll just leave that going over there. I'm going to make this a bit bigger so you can see the Buzzy workspace, and we'll just make that smaller. So Buzzy is an AI-powered no-code platform that allows you to start from prompts. The prompt for this was pretty simple. It will actually go through a structured process of creating your application. So it'll create like a mini, what we call it, a brief. It's like a mini product requirements document, which is fully editable. So these are the functions. So we've got recipes, meal entries, and that. Under the covers, it will also create what we call a blueprint. So these are the different screens. So think of this like a sitemap that you would normally have, which is, and again, this is, you don't have to, you can just use prompts, you don't have to do this, but this gives you another way for you to be able to see what's been created by the AI and to be able to modify it really easily. It's gone and created, and I'll show you how we do this in a second, it's gone and created the meal, the different widget screens. So the way that MCP works is that you don't want to shove the entire interface of the application into that little widget. You want to have specialized widgets, and we can generate those automatically. So Buzzy will do those. So they're like cut down versions that work well in context of an AI or LLM that for different types of scenarios. The application will also generate, this is a very simple application, so it's got recipes, and then there's meal entries and the shopping items, so 3 different data tables. It'll populate some sample data for you as well, but again, that's got our real data that we just generated. So this is the back-end repository or CMS that's driving it, and you can do sophisticated things like rules and that, but we won't get into that now. It's got other things in here, like when we generated the application, like things like the theme and so on. Now, where the interesting bits are is that once you enable MCP, will suggest tools for all the bits of the application that you've generated. So these are the interfaces into the application. So for doing things like creating a recipe, updating a recipe, listing them and so on. And what I'll do as part of this demo now, so this was one that I'd set up before so I could demonstrate this to you beforehand, but I'll show you how easy this is to be able to set it up. So let's go to, let's go back over here, and I've got a already built version of this application. But it hasn't had the MCP configured yet. So this is just like the first time I went in from prompt. I went in and I created an application. It should, yeah, so this is just like a copy of that application that I created. And now the question is, let's say we want to be able to make this work with an AI. And again, this could be any application that you've developed with Buzzy. So now, if we come in, all we're going to turn on is we're going to turn on the MCP. The first thing we need to do is we need to choose the tools that we want to expose for this application that then the AI can use. So for this demo, again, for that previous one, I basically put all these capabilities into it. But for the purpose of time, I'm just going to choose one, which is listing the recipes. So it won't be able to do anything else. I can then come in and I can generate the widget screens. So you can choose like whether you want like how simplified and minimalistic you want. So I'll just choose the minimal option and we'll generate the widget screens. So again, like other AI tools out there, you can chat with the application when you're creating it. So you can use prompts to modify the application. We also have an editor, and you can modify things manually as well. So often it's faster to change things, like certain things manually, other things will be faster to use prompts to do that. So it's just saying that it just wants to get my confirmation of what the plan is, and I'm just going to tell it to go ahead and go ahead and generate those widgets. So this is what it's going to do is if you look at this is, again, I don't know if you remember the previous blueprint, it's going to add a section to the blueprint, which are widget screens. And then because I only chose the one tool, which was the recipe list, I didn't choose all, there's a whole bunch of screens over there. I think there were, I can't remember exactly, like 30 screens in the application, but it's going to go through and it's going to generate just that screen. So it's going to generate a widget version of that screen, which is like a cut down version that should work well in context. Now, again, you can come into the design interface within Buzzy, and any screen like you can either modify using AI or come in and do things manually. So, if this is, let's make the screen a bit bigger. We'll make that smaller, make this a bit bigger, and then we'll just get rid of the chat for a bit. But you can come in and you can modify an application right down to this level. It'll give you everything from the design. You can go through that. It'll even give you access to, you can have a look at things like code, and I mentioned before, things you can have very sophisticated what we call code widgets at the front end, and then we've also got what we call Buzzy functions, which are like edge functions that you can call external services like other APIs and REST APIs and stuff. But again, we're not going to go into that for this particular demo. And again, you could come in, you can search for assets, and there's a whole library of things. You can just add them to the screen and and modify things. So let's see if that widget has been done. So that's the recipe list widget. So that's the recipe list. You'll see it's done things like it's removed the navigation for you. So again, it's a fairly sort of minimalistic view to that application. And then so that's it. So that's all we were doing on that. So if we looked at our chat over here, it'll probably tell us that we've successfully generated one widget screen. So if we come back to the MCP configuration, let's move that over there a bit. I'm just going to close that chat and just move this over here. So again, we added that one tool, which is the list recipe tool. And again, this is modifiable. So if this description over here doesn't make sense, or you don't think the AI is working as well, you can come in and you can modify this. So you can come into the settings and you can change that. And you also might say, you know what, I don't want a widget for that. I just want the AI just to go straight into the back end and work with the application that way versus showing a visual interface. So it also generates things, and again, all this is editable. So we've got our one widget over here, which is the recipe list widget. We're going to generate an MCP URL, and this is where it gets kind of fun. So this, now, if I was to come into this in developer mode, let's start a new chat, and we're going to go into developer mode, and we're going to go back over here, and I'm going to take this one and I'm just going to disconnect it. So let's just disconnect that. This was the V2 one that we were using in the previous demo, and let's come in here, and I'm going to create a new app. So I'll just call it Buzzy Byte V3 so we know what it is. And then I'm just going to copy this URL as the first thing about the URL. Now, because the applications can interact as the authenticated user, so whoever's logged into ChatGPT in this example, you want them to be able to access content, and you can set up security in your Buzzy application. So you're only going to see your recipes. You're not going to see somebody else's or your shopping list. So you can set up your applications as like a full multi-tenant SaaS application. The next thing you're going to do, and I'll generate the credentials, you see them on the screen, I'll delete this afterwards, so don't worry. But for the sake of this, I'm just going to copy this in, and I'm going to put my client ID in, and I'm going to put my the secret in here, and obviously and then I'm going to say understand. So what it's going to do, it's going to do a little bit of a dance between ChatGPT and the Buzzy server. It's going to do, it uses OAuth as a way of connecting the two platforms together, and also being able to, this is the demo God's playing with me, also being able to pass on the credentials through for that user. Let me just have a look over here. What server? Oh, actually, yeah, sorry, just give me one sec. I'm gonna use a different server because that one wasn't configured. Oh, it's actually got everything there, so that should actually be good to go. Let's have a look. I'm just going to click connect again, see if it connects. It might have been because I'm using two different servers over here. I'd used that was the V2 one is now connected. Let's go back over here. So now that application is connected, and now we're ready to go. So that's it. So you want to be able to add that application to your chat. And again, we're in developer mode over here, and I say show my recipes. And if all is working well, it's going to go to the Buzzy server or that Buzzy application. It's going to go in as that authenticated user. It's going to find the tool. And again, in developer mode over here, you can debug and have a look at what's going on. And it's going to find that information. And in here, you can see it's busy doing that. So that's it. So it's super, super easy for you to be able to integrate between ChatGPT, create a ChatGPT application that is MCP enabled without writing any code. It'll write the tools for you. It will write the interface for you. It handles the authentication for you. And obviously you can create applications without code using Buzzy and using AI prompting to be able to do that. And you can also extend them with code. So thanks so much for watching. This is like a geeky first version of this. Super excited. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear what you do with this. I'd love to see some applications in the ChatGPT App Store that are built with Buzzy and making gazillions of dollars. Cheers.